Hello everyone, I am Deepak Waliwal. So in the previous lecture, we have learned about the total energy of the dislocation, which consists of elastic part as well as the plastic part. What we have learned about this. Okay, so total energy of the dislocation consists of the elastic part and the plastic part, and finally we got the conclusion like total energy of the dislocation is alpha gb square. So that alpha value varies from 0.5 to 1.5. So today we will learn about some basic rules regarding to the dislocation association, dislocation dissociation. Then we will try to understand about the motion of a dislocation. Then we will try to understand about the line tension. So the very first, what we will learn about the association and dissociation. Like when I say association or dissociation, what does it mean, and what are the rules which govern this type of association and dissociation of the dislocation. So the very first rule is the Frank rule. Suppose the association, as the name suggests, like suppose two dislocation with the Berger vector b1 and b2, these two dislocation combines and form another dislocation with the Berger vector b3. Okay, so when this kind of association is possible, so this is governed by the Frank rule. So what Frank rule says, when the energy of the associated or final dislocation coming after association of two dislocations is less than, sorry, not less than, greater than energy of the associated or the final dislocation coming after association of the two dislocation is less than the sum of the energy of that two dislocation. So what does it mean? Like suppose the energy of the first dislocation is uh, suppose let it be gb1 square plus gb2 square. When it is greater than gb3 square, then only this kind of association of the dislocation to form a new dislocation is possible. Okay, now, so in the simple term, this all the dislocation part has this shear modulus. So what we used to write like b1 square b2 square, if greater than b3 square, then these two b1 and b2 combine to form b3 dislocation or dislocation with the Berger vector b3. Okay, so next is dissociation. So what does it mean by the dissociation? As name suggests, like suppose we have one dislocation with the Berger vector b1. It gets dissociate into the two dislocations with the Berger vector b2 and b3 respectively. So when this type of dissociation is possible, when the b1 square, that means the energy of the first dislocation is greater than the sum of the energy of the two dislocation which is resulted from the first dislocation by dissociation, like b2 square plus b3 square. Okay, when the energy of the first dislocation is greater than the sum of the two dislocation, then only this type of dissociation is possible. Now the next, like consider a case related to the mixed dislocation. Suppose this is your dislocation and this is your Berger vector direction, and this is tangent to that particular point which represents the line vector. Suppose the Berger vector making angle theta. So Berger vector has will have two component. One is along the line vector, another one is perpendicular to the line vector. Let us take the component of the Berger vector along the line vector, that would be b cos theta, and another one is b sin theta. As we know, the screw dislocation has Berger vector parallel to the line vector, and edge dislocation has Berger vector perpendicular to the line vector. Now here we have the mixed dislocation, which has the two component, which has two component, edge dislocation as well as screw dislocation. So how we can write the total energy of such type of mixed dislocation? Obviously it will be the sum of the energy associated with the screw dislocation and the energy associated with the edge dislocation. So let me write the energy of edge dislocation plus energy of screw dislocation. So how I can write the energy of the edge dislocation? In the previous lecture, what we have derived the equation of the edge dislocation as well as the screw dislocation. So total energy will be Gb square 4 pi 1 minus nu, okay, 1 minus nu B for edge dislocation, and ln r by r naught. This formula we have already derived in the previous lecture. For the screw dislocation, the only difference, this 1 minus nu term which is present in the edge dislocation case will not be present in the screw dislocation case. Otherwise the whole formula is similar. Now, putting the value of this Berger vector, the BH is equal to B sin theta, B screw is equal to B cos theta. So if we put 1 minus nu, again B square, and it would become B edge is equal to sin square theta, and this will be GB square 4 pi cos square theta. I can take common the ln r by r naught. So this equation represents the total energy of a this equation represent the total energy of mixed dislocation. Why I am calling it a mixed dislocation? Because it consists of both screw dislocation as well as the edge dislocation. Now in our next topic, we will try to understand about the motion of a dislocation. What we will understand? Motion of dislocation. Okay, so in order to understand, let me draw a line segment which I am calling a dislocation. When we apply a force tau or a stress tau to be precise, then let us consider this dislocation line moves by a unit distance ds, and we are considering only a line segment which has unit length dl. Okay, so let me draw more clearly. So this is the area swept by this line segment of unit length by moving a unit distance. Okay, so I want to write the equation of work. So the work is equal to force into displacement. So let us understand by a corollary. When we move a dislocation by a unit Berger vector, then it will swept a area is equal to A. When a delta displacement happens or a dislocation moves by a delta displacement, then the area swept will be by a unit length dislocation by the movement of a unit distance would be dl into ds. So let me find the delta value from here. Dl, not dl. How I can write? Berger vector dl dot ds by a. Simply we did cross multiplication and we get delta value from this equation. Let me call this 1 and this equation as 2. So putting the value of 2 in the equation 1, then what we will get? Force displacement value we have calculated, dl dot ds upon a. So the force what we can write in terms of shear stress, we can write stress is what? Force by area. So force will be equal to stress multiplied by area. So let me write stress into area, and this equation would be as it is, ds dot dl by a. So we can happily cancel this area with the area. So what we will have? Tau b ds dot dl. So put this value ds dot dl here, and we finally will have this. We are talking about the magnitude of the particle vector here. Okay, so tau b. So here what we can see, so this equation is representing what? The work done to move a unit length dislocation by a unit distance ds is equal to shear stress multiplied by Berger vector multiplied by Berger vector. So in the bracket I am representing the value like ds and dl. Dl means the unit length we are considering, and unit distance is ds. So this is the case. So as we know, if we divide work by area, it will automatically becomes the force per unit length. So we can also check with the dimensions of the work, which is Newton meter, and area will be meter square. So finally we'll have Newton meter, which is equal to the like Newton per meter when we call force per unit length. So the force per unit length of any dislocation will be equal to the work done to move a unit length dislocation by a unit distance. So this force is imaginary force. Okay, so the next is like force tau dot b. This is the imaginary force we are considering. So now consider some cases. Case 1, like when the tau and the b directions are perpendicular to each other. So what does it mean? There will be no force. No force. If the force is not available, then there will be no movement. Okay. When the tau in the direction of b, then only the dislocation movement will happen. It is important to have some component of the shear stress along the Berger vector direction, then only the dislocation movement is possible. Okay, so the one more important point is like the dislocation can move in opposite direction to the direction of shear stress. Okay, so in the previous lecture, one important information which was I have forgotten to tell you, like the energy of edge dislocation is always greater than the energy of the screw dislocation. Okay, we will learn in the upcoming lectures why we can say like the energy of the edge dislocation is greater than the energy of the screw dislocation. So in the next lecture we will learn about the line tension. Line tension. So in this lecture, what we have learned about the association of dislocation, dissociation of dislocation, what is the rule which govern the association and dissociation, which is the Frank rule, which says that if the association is only happen when the energy is decreasing, again the dissociation is only possible when the energy is reducing. Then we learned uh, about the mixed dislocation case, how we can write the total energy of the mixed dislocation, which is the summation of the energy of the screw dislocation and energy of the edge dislocation. Then we have learned about the motion of a dislocation, like how much force we need to move a unit length dislocation to a unit distance. Okay, so in the next lecture we will talk about the line tension. Thank you for watching video.